Season 17, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you something. It's been a while since you've seen me. I hope everybody is doing fantastic. But you know, we're not going to miss a settings video. That's basically what my channel was built on. If you're brand new, have never seen one of my settings videos, what we do is go over every setting in depth. If you don't like it, that's completely fine. All you got to do, take a screenshot, or you could pause the video, get back to your lobbies, and absolutely dominate. 3 things before we start it off. Number 1, these settings are going to need to be adjusted. I am an old man, so my settings are slow, I will tell you that. But I noticed that Apex Legends is a game that you don't need super fast settings for. If you want to be very flashy, then yes, but if you just want to kill people, get some wins, you're absolutely fine with a slow sense. Number 2, I do have an Elite Series 2 controller, which has 2 paddles on the back. You can add 2 more and make it 4 paddles on the back, but I choose not to. My left one is set to crouch and my right one is set to jump. Last but not least, I am on PC, so I'm going to have a bit more settings than the people on console, but we'll get into that a bit later. All right, so once you click on your settings menu, you're going to see a bunch of settings tabs, and the first one is going to be your gameplay tab. That's where we're going to start today. Setting number 1 in this tab is going to be interact prompt style. Basically what this does is when you have it set to default, it's going to show you an explanation of the item you're looking at, let's say on the ground, but if you have it on compact, it's just going to show you what the item is on the ground. So if you're a newer player to Apex Legends, not that experienced, you're going to want to have this set to default. Me personally, I've been playing the game for a while. I don't really need an explanation of what I'm picking up, what an arc star does, what a frag grenade does, so I have this set to compact. Button hints, I have that set to off as well. If you are newer and you don't know how to switch your weapon, it'll tell you how to do so. If you don't know how to use your ultimate ability, it'll show you how to do so if you have this set to on. Once again, if you're a newer player, I would have it set to on. Crosshair damage feedback, I have this set to off. I used to have this set to X with icon. Not anymore. I'm not a big fan of visual clutter in this game, especially as they've added more features along as the seasons have progressed. So I just have that set to off. Damage numbers is a huge one to have on stacking. Highly recommend either stacking or both. If you don't mind a little bit more clutter, then go with both, but stacking is great and it shows exactly how much damage you are doing, adds it up for you, so you're not doing quick math, on the spot. Ping opacity, I have that set to faded. I've just always preferred it as faded. You could see a little bit through your ping rather than if it's on default, it might get in your way sometimes. Obituaries, have that set to on. I've always said this every single settings video. I have to say it again. If you want to teabag the homies and know who the players are, have obituaries on. Minimap rotation, have that set to off. That's just going to turn your minimap whichever way you're looking if you have that set to on. I've never liked that. I always like to have it static, so that's going to be set to off. Weapon auto cycle on empty. I've always had that set to off since the beginning of my playing days, just because I always know exactly how much ammo is left in my weapons. I'm never running out of ammo, but if you're newer and you struggle keeping tabs on how much ammo you got left, keep that set to off. Auto sprint, I have this set to on. I used to have this off, but I was realizing that my sticks were getting worn down on my controllers a lot faster when I was double tapping to sprint, so now I just keep the auto sprint on. All you got to do is just push your stick forward and you start running, which is perfect. Double tap to sprint, have that set to off. Not a big fan of double tapping to sprint. Jetpack control, have that set to hold. This is a huge one. If you have paddles, I recommend putting this on hold 1000%. If you do not have paddles, it might be a little tough to control your jetpack unless you're playing claw, but toggle might be the move for you if you don't have a scuff controller or a controller with paddles. Incoming damage feedback, have that set to 3D. That's purely preference. Taking damage closes death box or crafting menu. I have this set to off. This is a huge one. You need to have this set to off because if you're going to look to shield swap in a box and you get shot with just one loose bullet, then you're coming out of that death box without that shield swap. So that's huge to have off. Hop up, pop up, have that set to on. Just tells you basically what each hop up does. If you don't want that on, just slide that bad boy off. Streamer mode, have that set to off. Anonymous mode, disabled for now. Usage sharing, enabled. Performance display, have that set to on. That's just going to show you your FPS, packet loss, and stuff like that in your top right hand corner. Club invites, have that enabled. If you're getting too many club invites, you're too popular, turn that bad boy off. Communication filter, everybody can talk, until they say some messed up stuff, then you gotta relax and then you gotta set it to friends only, or you gotta set it to nobody can talk to you. Reticle setting, I have that customized. So if you click customize, I'll show you my exact layout here. I've had this yellow one on forever. 251, 241, and 0 if you want to put the same one that I have on. It's not the best in the world. It's purely preference once again. And the laser sight I have on is just a green one at the moment. 0, 202, and 71. That's probably the same as last season. I don't really change those too much. Colorblind mode, I have that set to off. Personally, I am fortunate enough to not be colorblind, I don't think. So I've not had this on, but if you're colorblind, you know, switch these settings around and see which one you like the best. Subtitles, have this set to off. Subtitle size doesn't matter because it's off, but I have it on normal. Enable accessible chat features, have that set to off. Convert incoming voice to chat text, off. And play incoming text chat as speech, have that set to off. Now we're going to scroll over to the not mouse and keyboard settings. Sorry, if you clicked on this video looking for mouse and keyboard settings, it says it in the title. I'm not going over that. I am not a mouse and keyboard player, literally the worst mouse and keyboard player on the earth. So we're going to skip over that tab, go over to the controller tab, which a lot of you guys are probably dying to see here. Button layout, have that set to default. I heard bumper jumper is very good, and also button puncher. I mean, you could use whichever one. That's a lot of preference as well. Stick layout, have that set to default. Interact reload button, I have that set to tap to use and reload. I've always had this on tap to use and reload because when you get near doors, it's very tough to revive people. You have this on hold because it's going to open the door most of the time. So keeping that on tap to use and reload. Crouch button is set to hold because I have paddles. This Elite Series 2 controller, when I'm holding down the crouch button, I can crouch spam so fast with it. And that's one of the things I love the most about this Elite Series 2 controller. But if you don't have paddles and you don't play claw, it's going to be very tough to have your crouch button on hold. So you can just swap that over to toggle. All right, aim button, we have that set to hold. Not ever a big fan of toggling aim in video games, so I'm going to keep that on hold. Survival slot button, have that set to on, just so I can hit my left D-pad and pull out my heat shield very quickly. Trigger dead zones, have that set to none. If you have this set to max, it's going to take a lot longer once you hit the trigger for your weapon to shoot than if you have this on none. I've always preached to keep this on none for the longest time, and I will stay preaching it till the day I stop playing this game completely. Menu cursor speed is about midway through, a little less than midway through. Just make sure that your menu cursor speed is slow enough to be able to shield swap and grab the items efficiently. You don't want it too fast that you're flying over things. You don't want it too slow that you can't get to the, you know, items in time. We're going to skip past most of these movement and aiming settings. I will say that when I did use regular movement and aiming settings in the past, 6.4, 6.3, and 5.4 have worked the best for me. And I used to use classic and small for the response curve and the look dead zone. But now I'm on ALCs. We'll go over that in just a second. Movement dead zone, have that set to small. Inverted look, have that off. Vibration, never liked vibration when I play, so I have that off. So we're going to go into the advanced look controls right now. Once again, I am an old man, so these are slow. If you want faster settings, all you got to do is just adjust them. So take a screenshot and then adjust them to your liking. Custom look controls, you're going to have to turn this on at the top of the screen. Then you're going to go to dead zone. I have this set to 9. Outer threshold on 1%. Response curve on 10%. Per optic settings, we head into here. We got 1 times on 1, 2 times on 1.2, and then the 3 times to the 6 times, all on 1.6, 8 times and 10 times on 1.8. We got the yaw speed, which is left and right without aiming down sight on 331. I lowered that a bit since the last video I made. 301 on the pitch speed, which is up and down without aiming down sights. Then we have the turning extra yaw on 80, and then I don't keep any of these other settings on here. Turning extra pitch, ramp up time, ramp up delay, all set to 0. ADS yaw speed, have that set to 155. That's going to be left and right when aiming. ADS pitch speed 139. That's going to be up and down when aiming. And then your ADS turning extra yaw on 49. Everything else on 0 all the way down. Pitch, ramp up time, delay. Target compensation is a huge one. You need to have that set to on unless you're trying to play without aim assist, which is stupid. As it says right here, disabling is not recommended, so I do not recommend it. And then melee target compensation also should be on. We head back here, head into the video settings. This is the portion where I am on PC, so I'm going to have a lot more options than a lot of you guys. Display mode on full screen, aspect ratio 16:9 native, resolution 1920 by 1080, brightness is on 62%. Field of view, I have that set all the way up. I'd recommend at least putting this on 90 and above so you could see your surroundings better. Having this on the default, which I believe is 70, is just so low and you're not going to be able to see any of your surroundings. FOV ability scaling, have this disabled if you're playing as Bloodhound or you're playing as Octane. When you go into a Bloodhound Ultimate, your screen is going to change. It's going to scale out when you do not want that to happen. Same with the Octane stim. You want it to be consistent and and stay the same so you don't get thrown off and your aim doesn't go all over the place. Sprint view shake, have that set to minimal. No reason to have your screen shaken a ton. All right, now everybody, we're gonna get into the settings that are PC exclusive. I am not actually gonna go over every single one of these settings because I have them all basically on the lowest possible because I don't want to strain my PC whatsoever. If you want to turn these up, you have a high-powered PC, be my guest and turn these up. But if you want to see these settings, just take a little screenshot because I know a lot of people that play on console do not have these settings. Onto the audio tab, last but not least, master volume on 80, output device, this is only on PC here, system default, voice chat input device, this is once again PC, system default, PC again here, voice chat record mode, push to talk, open mic threshold, 9107, incoming voice chat volume, 100%, and then everybody should have all these settings here, sound effects volume on 100, dialogue volume 100, music volume, not a big fan of the music, so I keep that off. Usually I'm listening to Spotify on the side while I'm playing anyways. Lobby music volume on 0, and then sound in the background, just have that set to off. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed these settings. Like I said, I'm an old man. These are a little slow. Change them as you will, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys are killing it in Season 17. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out, guys.